Listen carefully. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone with less talent than you, less intelligence than you, and less opportunity than you is winning because they decided to take control. Meanwhile, most people are still waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for permission, waiting for 2026 to magically change their life. Here's the truth that hurts, but frees you. Nobody is coming to save you. If 2026 looks exactly like 2025, that's not bad luck. That's a choice. This is the year you stop being a background character in your own life. This is the year you become the main character. You don't reinvent your life by adding new goals on top of a broken foundation. You reinvent your life by destroying the version of you that keeps sabotaging everything. That's the part most people don't want to hear. They want transformation without sacrifice, success without discomfort, evolution without loss. But growth demands a death, not of your body, of your excuses, your laziness, your old identity. The truth is brutal. The life you want is impossible with the habits you currently protect. Every excuse you repeat, every shortcut you take, every time you choose comfort over effort, you are voting to stay exactly where you are. People say they want change, but they defend the very behaviors that keep them stuck. They want a new future while clinging to an old self that never works. The old version of you wakes up late, scrolls endlessly, consumes more than they create, and tells themselves tomorrow will be different. The old version of you avoids hard conversations, avoids responsibility, avoids pressure. The old version of you blames the economy, the past, other people, bad luck, anything except the mirror. And as long as that version is alive, it will quietly sabotage every attempt you make to level up. You don't rise by negotiating with weakness. Weakness doesn't compromise. It whispers, it waits. It tells you it's okay to skip one workout, delay one task, break one promise to yourself. And once you listen, it gets louder. Soon, skipping becomes normal. Delay becomes a lifestyle. Promises become meaningless. That's how people slowly rot without realizing it. Killing the old version of you starts with brutal self-honesty. You have to stop lying to yourself, not the obvious lies, the subtle ones, the lie that says I work better under pressure, the lie that says I deserve a break when you haven't earned one, the lie that says I'm still young, I have time. Time is not on your side. Time doesn't wait. Time exposes. Either you use it or it uses you. You must identify the habits that are quietly stealing your future. Wasted hours, late nights with no purpose, comfort routines that feel harmless but compound into regret, entertainment that numbs you instead of sharpening you, people you keep around because they're familiar, not because they push you forward. If your environment rewards weakness, you will stay weak no matter how ambitious your thoughts are. Let this sink in. Your current identity is perfectly designed to produce your current results. If you don't like your results, the problem is not motivation. The problem is identity. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to become someone who does the work regardless of how they feel. That requires letting go of who you've been. This is where most people fail. They romanticize their past. They protect their old self because it feels safe. Familiar pain feels better than unfamiliar growth. At least with your old habits, you know what to expect. Reinvention demands uncertainty, and uncertainty scares people more than suffering. But staying the same should scare you more. Killing the old version of you means setting non-negotiable standards. No more sometimes, no more I'll try. Standards are rules you don't break even when it's inconvenient. When you decide that training is mandatory, excuses disappear. When you decide that your word matters, discipline follows. When you decide that mediocrity is unacceptable, your behavior has no choice but to change. It also means accepting responsibility for everything. Not because everything is your fault, but because everything is your responsibility. Blame is comfortable. Responsibility is power. The moment you stop blaming and start owning, you take control, and control is the foundation of confidence. You will lose things in this process, friends who only liked the old you, habits that once gave you pleasure, parts of your personality that were built around avoiding effort. Let them go. Every level of success demands a new version of you. Holding onto the old one is like trying to run faster while dragging chains. This is not about becoming someone fake. It's about removing everything that isn't aligned with who you're capable of becoming. Discipline doesn't kill your personality. It reveals your potential. Pressure doesn't break you. It shows you who you really are. The old version of you is emotional, reactive, and inconsistent. The new version is calm, deliberate, and relentless. The old version waits to feel ready. The new version moves even when afraid. The old version looks for validation. The new version builds value. These two versions cannot coexist. One must dominate. One must disappear. And understand this clearly. No one is coming to do this for you. There will be no ceremony, no applause, no permission slip. Reinvention is lonely, silent, uncelebrated at first. But that's the price of becoming dangerous in a world full of excuses. Every day in 2026, you will be faced with a choice: feed the old you or starve it. Every action is a vote. Every decision either brings the old version back to life or pushes it further into the past. Consistency is what makes the death permanent. You don't need a new year. You need a new standard. You don't need luck. You need courage. The courage to let go of who you've been, even if that's all you've ever known. Kill the old version of you without mercy, because the life you want will only begin when the excuses end. Discipline is not something you do. It's something you become. Most people treat discipline like a tool they pick up when they feel inspired and put down the moment life gets uncomfortable. That's why their progress is inconsistent and their confidence is fragile. When discipline is optional, results are accidental. When discipline becomes your identity, results are inevitable. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes based on mood, weather, praise, energy, and comfort. Discipline doesn't care about any of that. Discipline operates even when your emotions are weak. It moves when you don't feel like moving. It shows up when quitting feels justified. That's why discipline is power. It puts you in control instead of letting your feelings control you. The moment you decide that discipline is who you are, excuses lose their grip. You stop asking yourself whether you should train, work, read, or improve. You already decided. There is no debate. There is no emotional negotiation. You don't wait to feel ready. You act because that's the standard you live by. Most people think discipline is punishment. They see it as restriction, pressure, or suffering. That's a misunderstanding. Discipline is freedom. When you're disciplined, you're no longer a slave to impulses, cravings, distractions, or laziness. You choose your actions instead of reacting to urges. That is real freedom, self-mastery. Without discipline, your life becomes reactive. You wake up responding to notifications. You eat based on cravings. You work based on deadlines instead of standards. You train only when it's convenient. Over time, this reactive lifestyle erodes self-respect. And when self-respect disappears, confidence follows it out the door. Discipline restores self-respect. Every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it's hard, you reinforce trust in yourself. That trust compounds. You start believing in your own word. And once you believe in yourself, you move differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. People can sense it. The world responds to it. This is why discipline must become identity, not effort. Effort is temporary. Identity is permanent. When you say, "I'm trying to be disciplined," you've already left the door open for failure. When you say, "I am disciplined," your behavior has no choice but to follow. Your actions align with who you believe you are. Look at how identity shapes behavior in everyday life. A person who identifies as a smoker struggles to quit because quitting feels like losing a part of themselves. A person who identifies as an athlete trains even when injured, tired, or discouraged. Identity always wins over willpower. If you want long-term discipline, you must shift how you see yourself. Discipline also means embracing delayed gratification. The disciplined person understands that pleasure now often leads to pain later, while pain now often leads to pleasure later. Training hurts now but creates strength later. Studying feels boring now but creates options later. Saying no today builds power tomorrow. Undisciplined people choose the present. Disciplined people choose the future. This is where most people collapse. They want immediate rewards. They want recognition before results. They want success without boredom, but the path to anything meaningful is repetitive, unglamorous, and often lonely. Discipline is the ability to stay committed long after the excitement fades. Discipline also demands structure. Chaos destroys consistency. If your days are random, your results will be random. Disciplined people design their environment to make success unavoidable. They control their sleep, their schedule, their inputs, and their focus. They reduce decision fatigue by creating routines. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. You don't rise by having intense days. You rise by having disciplined days stacked on top of each other. Small actions done daily beat rare bursts of effort every time. One workout doesn't change your body. One focused session doesn't change your life. But repeated discipline changes everything. Discipline also teaches emotional control. When you're disciplined, you stop letting emotions dictate your actions. You learn to act through fear, boredom, frustration, and doubt. This emotional toughness spills into every area of life. Pressure stops overwhelming you. Setbacks stop breaking you. You become calm under stress because you trust your process. This is why disciplined people appear confident even when they're unsure. Their confidence doesn't come from guaranteed outcomes. It comes from knowing they will do the work regardless of the outcome. They don't fear failure because failure doesn't stop them. They fear stagnation more than mistakes. Understand this: the world does not reward potential, it rewards execution. Discipline is execution repeated daily. Talent without discipline turns into regret. Intelligence without discipline turns into frustration. Dreams without discipline turn into excuses. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. When discipline becomes your identity, your standards rise automatically. You stop tolerating low-effort behavior from yourself and from others. You stop seeking shortcuts. You stop looking for validation. You become internally driven. Your pride comes from effort, not applause. There will be days you hate the routine, days you question why you're pushing so hard, days you feel tired, unmotivated, and unappreciated. Those days are not a sign to stop. Those days are the test. Discipline is choosing to continue anyway. You don't build discipline by waiting for a perfect mindset. You build it by acting in spite of an imperfect mindset. Action shapes identity faster than thought ever will. Every disciplined action reinforces the belief that you are someone who doesn't quit. In a world addicted to comfort, discipline is a competitive advantage. While others sleep in, you train. While others complain, you execute. While others wait, you build. Over time, the gap becomes undeniable. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes expected. Discipline is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up early, works quietly, and leaves without asking for praise. But its results are impossible to ignore. Make discipline who you are, not what you do. Once that happens, your life will start obeying you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They design their days to be easy, predictable, and painless, and then they wonder why they feel weak, unfulfilled, and stuck. Discomfort isn't the enemy you were taught to fear. Discomfort is the gateway. Every meaningful upgrade in life lives on the other side of something uncomfortable. The truth is simple but uncomfortable itself. If your life feels easy right now, your future is going to be hard. Easy choices compound into difficult consequences. Skipping effort today doesn't feel painful in the moment, but it builds a future filled with regret, limitation, and dependence. On the other hand, choosing difficulty now builds strength that pays you back for the rest of your life. Discomfort forces adaptation. When you put your body under stress, it gets stronger. When you put your mind under pressure, it sharpens. When you put yourself in situations where you could fail, you grow. Comfort does the opposite. Comfort keeps you exactly where you are. It preserves your current limits. It makes mediocrity feel acceptable. This is why growth always feels awkward at first. When you start waking up earlier, your body resists. When you push yourself physically, your muscles protest. When you speak up, take risks, or challenge yourself mentally, fear shows up. That resistance isn't a warning sign. It's confirmation that you're stepping outside your old identity. Most people misinterpret discomfort as danger. They think feeling uncomfortable means something is wrong. In reality, discomfort is often a signal that something is finally going right. You're stretching beyond your old limits. You're entering unfamiliar territory, and unfamiliar territory always feels uncomfortable before it feels normal. People who achieve uncommon results don't have a higher tolerance for pain by accident. They train it, they intentionally put themselves in situations that demand more from them, they choose hard workouts over easy excuses, they choose difficult conversations over silent resentment, they choose long-term progress over short-term pleasure. Over time, what once felt painful becomes routine. What once felt intimidating becomes expected. Discomfort is also a filter. It separates those who want change from those who only talk about it. Everyone likes the idea of improvement. Very few people are willing to endure the process required to earn it. The moment things get hard, most people retreat to what's familiar. That's why average is crowded. Comfort attracts the masses. When you learn to lean into discomfort, you gain a massive advantage. You stop running from challenges. You stop needing perfect conditions. You stop waiting for confidence. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after repeated exposure to discomfort. The more often you do hard things, the less power fear has over you. Discomfort also builds self-trust. Every time you push through something you wanted to avoid, you send a message to yourself, I can handle this. That message compounds. You begin to trust your ability to survive pressure, uncertainty, and difficulty. And once you trust yourself, you stop needing reassurance from the outside world. This is especially important because modern life is designed to eliminate discomfort. Convenience is everywhere. Food is instant. Entertainment is endless. Distraction is constant. All of it trains you to avoid effort and seek stimulation. If you don't consciously fight this, you slowly lose your edge without realizing it. Choosing discomfort is an act of rebellion against weakness. It's waking up early when your bed is warm. It's training when your body is tired. It's working when no one is watching. It's saying no to what feels good now so you can say yes to what feels powerful later. These choices don't feel heroic in the moment. They feel boring, heavy, and lonely, but they build something dangerous over time. Discomfort also exposes your excuses. When you commit to doing hard things, you quickly discover how often your mind tries to escape. It looks for shortcuts, it negotiates, it exaggerates pain, it tells stories about why today should be different. Recognizing this inner resistance is part of growth. You don't eliminate it, you learn to act despite it. There's a difference between harmful pain and productive discomfort. Productive discomfort has purpose. It aligns with growth. It's chosen, not forced. It challenges you without destroying you. Learning this distinction is critical. You don't chase suffering for its own sake. You use discomfort as a tool to expand your capacity. The more you avoid discomfort, the smaller your world becomes. Your opportunities shrink. Your confidence erodes. Your tolerance for stress drops. Small problems start feeling overwhelming. But when you regularly expose yourself to controlled discomfort, your capacity expands. Life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Discomfort also teaches patience. Results don't come immediately. Progress is often invisible at first. This frustrates people who are addicted to instant feedback, but discomfort trains you to trust the process even when there's no immediate reward. That patience becomes a weapon in a world obsessed with shortcuts. There will be moments when discomfort feels pointless, when you're tired, sore, discouraged, and questioning your path. Those moments are not setbacks. They are initiation points. They ask you a simple question: are you committed or are you comfortable? How you answer determines who you become. Once you stop fearing discomfort, you stop fearing failure. Failure is uncomfortable, but it's survivable. Rejection is uncomfortable, but it doesn't kill you. Embarrassment is uncomfortable, but it passes. When you internalize this, you become bold. You take chances others won't. You move while others hesitate. Over time, discomfort becomes familiar. You don't enjoy it, but you respect it. You understand that it's shaping you. You begin to associate discomfort with progress instead of danger. And that mental shift changes everything. What once stopped you now drives you. The goal is not to suffer endlessly. The goal is to build a version of yourself that can handle pressure without breaking. To become someone who doesn't collapse when things get hard, someone who doesn't need perfect conditions to perform. Comfort creates fragile people, discomfort creates capable ones. Every time you choose the harder path, you are reinforcing a mindset that will carry you through chaos, competition, and uncertainty. If you want to become the main character in your life, you must stop running from discomfort. You must walk toward it deliberately, repeatedly, and without drama, because on the other side of discomfort is strength, and strength changes everything. A strong body, a sharp mind, and an unbreakable mindset are not separate goals. They are one system. When one is weak, the others suffer. Most people try to improve their lives by working on motivation or mindset alone, but they ignore the physical and mental foundations that make discipline sustainable. You cannot think like a powerful person while living in a weak body, and you cannot sustain a strong body with a scattered, undisciplined mind. Your body is not just a shell you carry around. It is the engine that drives your energy, confidence, and decision-making. When your body is weak, tired, and neglected, everything feels harder than it needs to be. Small problems feel overwhelming. Stress hits harder. Focus disappears faster. Physical weakness leaks into mental weakness without you realizing it. Training your body changes more than your appearance. It changes how you show up in the world. Strength training teaches you how to apply force, endure discomfort, and stay present under pressure. Cardio teaches endurance, rhythm, and breath control. Consistent physical training wires resilience into your nervous system. You become harder to shake because your body has learned how to survive stress. Pain in training is controlled suffering. You choose it. That choice matters. When you voluntarily put your body through challenge, your mind learns that discomfort is not an emergency, it's a signal. This alone transforms how you handle stress in everyday life. Deadlines don't feel as threatening. Conflict doesn't feel as destabilizing. You've taught yourself that pressure is survivable. A disciplined body also builds confidence in a way nothing else can. Not the loud, fragile confidence that comes from validation, but quiet certainty. You know what you're capable of because you've tested yourself. You've pushed past resistance. You've stayed consistent when quitting was easier. That knowledge cannot be taken from you, but physical training alone is not enough. A strong body without a sharp mind becomes reckless. A powerful body guided by a weak mind leads to impulsive decisions and wasted potential. Your mind must be trained with the same intention as your body. Mental training starts with controlling inputs. What you consume shapes how you think. Endless scrolling, negative media, and constant noise fracture your attention. They make deep thought impossible. A sharp mind is built through focus, not stimulation. Reading, learning, reflecting, and thinking deeply sharpen your ability to analyze, plan, and execute. Most people are mentally exhausted not because they work too hard, but because their attention is constantly hijacked. A scattered mind cannot build anything meaningful. Training your mind means practicing focus, tasking, sitting with boredom, completing what you start. These habits strengthen mental endurance just like reps strengthen muscle. Thinking clearly also requires solitude. Silence is uncomfortable for people who avoid their thoughts. But solitude reveals truth. It exposes weak thinking patterns, excuses, and emotional reactions. When you sit alone and think, you gain clarity. You stop reacting and start deciding. A sharp mind is also curious. It studies patterns. It learns from others without copying them. It seeks principles, not shortcuts. Learning becomes a daily discipline, not a phase. When you sharpen your mind, you increase your leverage. You see opportunities others miss. You make fewer emotional mistakes. Then comes mindset, the glue that holds body and mind together. Mindset is how you interpret pain, failure, effort, and time. An unbreakable mindset doesn't mean you never feel doubt or fear. It means those emotions don't control your actions. An unbreakable mindset is built through repeated exposure to difficulty. Every time you face resistance and don't quit, you reinforce a belief, I can handle this. Over time, this belief becomes automatic. You stop seeing obstacles as threats and start seeing them as tests. Your mindset determines whether training feels like punishment or preparation, whether learning feels like pressure or power, whether failure feels like defeat or data. This framing changes everything. Two people can experience the same hardship. One breaks, the other evolves. The difference is mindset. A strong mindset also understands that progress is nonlinear. There will be days when performance drops, days when motivation disappears, days when results stall. A fragile mindset panics and quits. An unbreakable mindset stays steady. It trusts consistency over emotion. Your body, mind, and mindset feed each other in a loop. When your body is trained, your energy improves. When your energy improves, your focus sharpens. When your focus sharpens, your mindset strengthens. When your mindset strengthens, you train harder and think clearer. Momentum builds. Neglect one part of the system and everything weakens. Train all three and you become difficult to stop. This is why truly disciplined people appear calm under chaos. They are not pretending. Their system is strong. Modern life tries to separate you from this system. It encourages mental shortcuts, physical laziness, and emotional avoidance. Resisting this requires intention. You must choose to build your body when comfort says rest. Choose to sharpen your mind when distraction says scroll. Choose to strengthen your mindset when excuses say quit. An unbreakable mindset also includes accountability. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop outsourcing responsibility. You understand that no one is coming to rescue you. That realization is not depressing. It's empowering. Control returns to you. When your body is strong, your posture changes. When your mind is sharp, your speech becomes precise. When your mindset is unbreakable, your presence becomes commanding. You don't need to announce confidence, it shows. This combination makes you dangerous in the best way. Not aggressive, but capable. Not loud, but grounded. You move with purpose. You act with intention. You don't collapse under pressure because you've trained for it daily. Building this system is not fast. It's not glamorous. It requires repetition, boredom, and patience. But once it's built, it changes how life responds to you. Problems become manageable. Opportunities become actionable. Pressure becomes fuel. The world rewards people who can think clearly under stress, act decisively under pressure, and remain consistent over time. A strong body, sharp mind, and unbreakable mindset give you exactly that edge. Train all three relentlessly, and you won't just look powerful. You will be powerful. Most people step into a new year carrying the same problems because they never address the root cause. They try to fix outcomes instead of systems. They want confidence, success, and respect without changing daily behavior. The real problem is not lack of potential, it's lack of structure. The solution begins with ownership. Write down exactly where your life is weak, physically, mentally, financially, emotionally. No excuses, no blaming. Clarity creates control. Once you see the problem clearly, you stop feeling overwhelmed and start feeling responsible, and responsibility is where power begins. The next step is replacing chaos with standards. Problems repeat when rules are unclear. Set non-negotiables for your life, fixed wake-up times, scheduled training, daily learning, controlled consumption, and defined work blocks. Don't wait for motivation. Design your environment so discipline is automatic. Remove distractions, reduce choices, make the right action easier than the wrong one. This problem-solving approach doesn't rely on willpower. It relies on systems that keep you moving forward even on low-energy days. When pressure hits, and it will, most people collapse because they try to escape discomfort instead of using it. The solution is reframing. Treat problems as training, not punishment. Ask better questions. What is this teaching me? How can this make me stronger? What action moves me forward right now? This shifts your focus from emotion to execution. Instead of reacting, you respond. Instead of quitting, you adapt. Every problem becomes feedback, and feedback, when used correctly, accelerates growth. Finally, consistency solves what intensity cannot. You don't fix your life with one emotional decision, you fix it with disciplined repetition. Track your actions, not your feelings. Measure effort, not outcomes. When something isn't working, don't quit, adjust the process. Small corrections made daily prevent big failures later. This is how you become the main character, by solving problems with structure, pressure, and persistence instead of excuses. Do this long enough and your life won't just change, it will obey you. Thank you for giving me your time, your focus, and your attention. In a world full of noise, distraction, and shortcuts, the fact that you stayed till the end says something about you. You're searching for more, and that already puts you ahead of the crowd. As you leave this video, remember this powerful lesson for life. Nothing changes until you change. Not the year, not the environment, not the people around you. The moment you take full responsibility for your actions, your habits, and your standards, life starts responding differently. Discipline is the bridge, discomfort is the path, and consistency is the key. If this message pushed you even a little, use that push today. One action, one decision, one step forward. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create momentum, and let momentum create confidence. Thank you for watching. Stay disciplined, stay dangerous. This isn't goodbye, this is the beginning.